You found your way to the Winning Tactics podcast with host Adam Sinkus. Adam discusses winning tactics with small business owners and entrepreneurs, uncovering processes and introducing the tools and solutions for enhancing the bottom line. Thanks again for finding your way to the Winning Tactics podcast, and now your host, Adam Sinkus.
We're here. Oops. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Winning Tactics podcast. That is my new intro, so trying it out today. I did not break the internet, but hopefully we will do that today with my esteemed guest, Lee Rowley. If you are not familiar with Lee Rowley, he is the host of Bowtie Up Live every afternoon at 4:20. Absolutely fantastic show. Love being on there when I get the opportunity. So welcome to Winning Tactics podcast. Tell us a little bit about you for those that don't know who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you, Adam. I haven't been on this side of the fence for a while, so it's kind of cool. So I'm Lee Rowley of Lee Rowley Copybranding and Copybranding University. I am a 12-year veteran copywriter. I have written for Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy. Good Lord, I could go on and on, but who cares? Point being is that I've spent a lot of time learning what works in copy, and I'm constantly refining what I do so that I can stay ahead of what's working now and help teach other people how to write like that too, and create the results that I need to create for my clients.
Awesome. Yeah. It's interesting to me, like copywriting is, I think for a lot of people, a big mystery. They see, there's so much really good content out on the internet these days. And I think a lot of people look at it. I know a long time ago, I shouldn't say that long ago, but long enough ago that I'd look at that and go, wow, this is like the huge mystery to me of how somebody can put together copy that's so engaging and makes so much sense and fits into a web page or even social in a certain way. And so today our goal is to kind of unpack that mystery a little bit with Lee and really discover why it's important to have really good copywriting on your website, on your social assets, some tips and tricks on how you can do that. And if you're not comfortable with that, why you should hire a professional. I am a big proponent. I will tell you every day of the week, if you're not good at something, don't waste your time on it. Let somebody else who is good at it do it for you. So let's dive into this, Lee. Sure. Let's talk about the importance of good copy on a website. What's your take on why should we really focus on having good copy on our websites?
Because you have a window of about 2 seconds to make an impression. Now, the copy isn't the only thing that's going to make that impression, and I'll talk a little bit later about how copy and design always have to interplay. But the first words that they read on your site determine whether or not they're going to give you the time to find out whether they actually want to do business with you. See, we tend to start out as business owners with this idea that we've got this great product and everybody's going to want to come and buy it, and everybody already knows how wonderful we are. But the people who are potentially our buyers generally don't have a fraction of that information. So we have to engage them in a way that our competitors aren't. And that's through, again, both design and copy. When beginning with the front page of your website, wherever they're landing, that first impression has to be absolutely stunning.
Yes, I agree with that. So I'm a firm believer towards the top of your page from a design perspective. You should have a headline and 1 to 2 sentences about what you do. We refer to this as your unique selling proposition. So it's that thing that sets you apart from everybody else that's doing the same thing. Because like in the marketing world, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of companies that are pretending to be marketers, and some of them actually are really good marketers. And that is not picking on people. That's just being real about it. And the way it exists. And so I think it's important that you have that really solid, unique selling proposition that identifies who you are and what you're about. So I agree with you, though, Lee. It is so important that you create that first impression as quickly as possible, because I can't count the amount of pages that I skip through because I look at like the first, like the header and the first couple of sentences, and I'm like, yeah, they don't fill my need. Right. So
right. Well, and that's an important point, because what I do when I'm working with students who I'm training to write copy, I just have to hammer home this point of you start with the end user. What's going on in their world? What does their life look like? And then you back end the case for your product. Not starting with, hey, look at me and how great my product is and I've got all this experience and then expect them to give a crap. It's not about that. It's about diving into their world, finding out where that intersection is between your story and their story, and then matching it up through your copy.
Yep.
It's really no different than you would do in a face-to-face sales scenario. You wouldn't just walk right up to, unless you're a timeshare salesman, but we won't go into that now. But for the humanoids, we don't just walk right up and just be like, hey, look at the stuff I got to buy. You engage in a conversation. You find out some things about the people. You build rapport. Then you start talking business. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing it differently online?
It's interesting to me. You mentioned you shouldn't talk about yourself, right? And I think that's a really important caveat. Like, you need to talk about yourself on your webpage because you need to tell people what you do. But there's a way to tell people what you do without saying, I do this and I'm an expert because, And so tell us a little bit about your approach on that, your thoughts on that I statement stuff that I see a lot.
Absolutely. This comes into play a lot in About Me pages, which I actually have done a 4-week course that have since condensed on just dialing in your core message. And that's really what copywriting is all about for a business owner, is making sure that everything relates back to that core message. Okay. So in an About Me page, what you need to understand is that everything you say about you has to be relevant to them in a meaningful way. Them being the person who's reading it and potentially could buy your product or service. Okay. If you are a dog lover and your audience loves dog, that's a connection point. It doesn't really matter whether it's material to the product or not. If it is, so much the better. But these tertiary connection points can go a long way to making you a better choice than your competitors just because they know you. Okay. Yeah. On the flip side, just saying what you want to say just because you want to say it is not going to impress anybody. I had a client several years ago, seems like a long time to me anyway, who was very upset because I didn't include in her About Me page that her favorite color was blue. And I said, what difference is that? But she's like, well, I'm very, very, that's important to me. My favorite color is blue. I really, really love blue. And I'm like, great. Design a blue website, wear blue, sing that song about blue. There's a few.
Yeah.
Who knew? But who cares? Your audience is not going to make a decision based on whether your favorite color is blue, unless you have some data that tells me that people who love blue also love your coaching package. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Sculpting your message for them. You've mentioned that a couple times now. Mm-hmm. And it's not as easy of a process as you think. Diving down the understanding your customer, marketing, copywriting, like we live in this world where we're constantly doing research. So let's talk a little bit about how do you research what's important to your customer? What are some of those things that you look for?
Sure. Well, I first like to start with my client, who's the seller. Generally, in my case, it's a high-end coach or consultant. I want to see what they think their customer looks like. So I will give them, just the questionnaire that kind of works backwards. Again, I start with, what's the biggest problem that your product will solve for your buyer, and then work backwards to gain a perspective of who they think their buyer is, who they think that avatar is. Sometimes they're right. More often, it's kind of right and kind of not. But at least if I get their perspective, that I know where they think it is and where they're coming from. It makes it a little bit easier to match up the copy later. After I've done that, and gone through a Zoom call, just listen to them, watch their facial expressions, watch what they get excited about, watch when they tense up. All of those cues tell me a little about their lives. Then I turn around and I go into the niche Facebook groups, the YouTube video reviews, the Amazon book reviews, Reddit. It depends on the audience, but there's a million places where you can go to listen to what they're talking about when they think you're not listening.
Yep.
That's what I call avatar immersion, and that's what's driving this whole thing. Okay. Then we can find out what they're talking about, because they talk about other things they've tried. They talk about the frustration points. Okay. For an example, rheumatoid arthritis. One of my earliest clients I used this process with was selling a natural remedy for rheumatoid arthritis. So every competitor was talking about the same things: joint pain and fatigue, joint pain and fatigue. We help joint pain and fatigue better than any other, blah, blah, blah. And it all just sounds the same, right?
Yep.
So I went into a niche Facebook group for rheumatoid arthritis sufferers, and I listened for a while. And I saw a lady talk about how she couldn't get along with her husband anymore. And part of the problem reason they were having so many problems was they couldn't sleep in the same bed, because she was tossing and turning all night because she was in pain from the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. What marketer is going to think of it can actually cause problems in a relationship indirectly? But when you work it into your copy that say, maybe you've even experienced this or once or twice, maybe you've even been fighting more with your spouse because you're not sleeping in the same bed, you're not spending time with each other. When you say that in a copy and people go, crap, you get me, followed by, here's my money.
Yeah.
But that's what it's really all about. I try to create a copy for an audience of one. And I find that works better than any promise, any guarantee, any hype that you can throw out there.
Yeah, no, I think you mentioned a really great tool, Facebook groups, because there's a Facebook group for everything. There's probably 10 Facebook groups for every possible subject you could think about. And so, small business owners, if you are not part of the Facebook group for your niche audience, get in those groups. That is going to give you the best real-time data and pulse on what's going on with your potential clients. And that's to me that is the easiest way. And most even if they are closed groups, like most of the time, like you put the request in to join, like I'm honest with the groups that I join. Like, look, I'm a marketer. Like that's what I do. I'm here. And I just, sometimes they're like, I get the private message from them. They're like, are you going to come in and spam our group? I'm like, no, I'm just here to talk to people and be real. Right. And that usually gets you through the gate, if you have any struggles there, but Facebook groups, super accessible tool for that. So definitely appreciate that. Let's switch gears a little bit, because I think another important topic, and Alex and I nerded out about this last week on your show, SEO, right? Because that's obviously an important part of copywriting, is making sure that you have keywords. For those of you that don't know, SEO, search engine optimization, it's one of the tools that in your writing you use to help your page get found on Google and Bing towards the top of the results, so that your customers don't have to go find you, because they're not going to go find you on the second, third, or fourth page of Google. So let's talk a little bit about keywords, because that is a primary tactic of SEO. So how do you go through keyword research for your clients when you're writing?
Well, there are the usual avenues, but I like to also use different tools to just look and see what keywords are showing up in YouTube. In different places other than just hey, we're going to get some Google keywords and we're going to run ads, and that's going to be the end of it. Getting different sources, especially if your audience is in a different place. They may be paying more attention to content on YouTube than they are Facebook or on, or LinkedIn than they are Facebook. So, if it's LinkedIn, I'm looking more at hashtags than anything. If it's website content, I'm not terribly SEO driven when it comes to website content because I like to use social media to start the conversation. And once you get with them into that conversation, then, the relationship becomes more important than the robotic elements of SEO, in my opinion. It depends on how you do it.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with that. I think it's important you call out, though, looking at all the sources of where people are at and consuming that content, right? Because if you do have a YouTube channel, what are you being found on YouTube for? Those are keywords that you probably want in your copy on your website. That's going to help you there.
Yeah.
If you're active on social media, what hashtags are people finding you from? What's driving your content there? Again, tying that all back into that cohesive story that you're telling with your brand. So I think that's a good call out. Looking at other sources, I think we get blinded sometimes because there are so many SEO tools out there that the marketers are using to find those keywords. And we can definitely reach out to me if you're curious about those tools. Be more than happy to have that conversation. It is not a short-winded conversation by any means, but reach out to me and we can have that conversation through DM or schedule a call. So I want to pause here for a second, say what's going on, Josh and Charlie. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Appreciate you guys. So I'm glad, Charlie, that you're enjoying this topic. I think it's one of those things that people often overlook. So let's talk a little bit about social media and copy and social media, because that's a different beast than websites. And I think it's relevant to a larger audience of people as well, because we spend so much time on social media. And I am the king of, if you build it, they will come, right? So putting out good content out on my social platforms is a big piece of my strategy to build my business. So let's talk about what makes good content in the social world in your mind. Let's start with LinkedIn. That's I think a lot of people's primary audience. So let's talk about that a little bit. What's your thoughts on good social content in LinkedIn?
Well, there's definitely been a huge shift. We've all seen it from more button-down, stiff business environment to a more human environment. So human-based content, things that really appeal to real people, tend to fare far better than the look at me and look what I know and look what I have to teach. Because there are a million people out there trying to give you 5 ways to blah, blah, blah. But there aren't that many people out there who are willing to say, you know what, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. And I guess, if I have no other talent, it's that it's just, if I want to say it, it's going to happen. And, case in point, on Sunday, really bad. I woke up about 3:15 a.m. And, as you know, my wife and I lost our daughter 7 years ago. And I still wake up with that memory sometimes. 3 in the morning, just that last moment, the implosion. And so I did that on Sunday, and I just wrote about it. There really wasn't any business context to it at all, other than, just I think I tied some, personal growth concept to it, but, it really wasn't like, this is how you run your business. There wasn't anything businessy about it. Yep. And, we ended up, at 400 reactions and 115 comments and things, just something I'm not used to because, from the other stuff that I write. But that's the kinds of things that starting, and even more important than that, because those metrics are vanity metrics and they really don't matter. It started a lot of conversations. The new connections who came in were very quick to PM me and say, hey, you know what? I really, I want to talk to you more about that post. I mean, can you tell me more? Can we have a conversation?
Yep.
And so that's what you get out of content on LinkedIn. I mean, people think, and I get all the time, I get the PMs of, hey, look at what I have and go sign up for this free trial. And I even got one day where in all caps with like 7 exclamation points after it said, "We are experts." First line of the freaking PM. And I'm like, and I should care why.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know if you can help me. You don't even know what I need. Why the hell should I care if you're an expert? Go what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get those all the time. My favorite is the marketers that the SEO specialists and they spam your DMs, and I'm like, did you take like 2 seconds, just 2 seconds to realize that is my business and that's what I do?
Yeah,
because it's all it was going to take. And you probably wouldn't have wasted your time on this message. Now I'm going to waste a whole bunch of your time just because, I'll get a little passive aggressive about that. It's a huge frustration point for me.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I do want to add a caveat as far as the personal content on LinkedIn or anywhere else. I mean, it's just, there are going to be those people who say, look, LinkedIn is not Facebook. This is not, therapy. This is not the place to dump your stories. And things do need to be tailored to some sort of growth point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're writing a post and you're not really making a point, then you've wasted your time and theirs. So, I mean, to me, if there's some point from a personal development standpoint, from a business standpoint, from some takeaway, then I don't see a problem with it. And the posts that have really resonated with the most people are the posts where I've really talked about the darkest parts of my life, the mistakes I've made, and the things that I've learned, not what I'm really great at. Nobody cares. I mean, nobody really cares that I'm a great copywriter unless they either want me to teach them or they want me to write for them. So I just really don't even have to talk about it that much anymore.
Yep. No, I think that's really important. I think, so you do need to spend some time building some trust and authority on what you're an expert on when you're growing your audience, when you're growing your business on the social platforms. It is important to talk about that stuff. But at the end of the day, you make a very valid point. People connect with people. So if you just seem like a machine that's putting out content on how you help businesses grow, on how you help this, how I can fix that, why you should hire me to do this all the time, and that's all you ever do, nobody is ever going to connect with you. And so sprinkling in that personal bit of who you are as a person gives people a reason to realize that you're a real person that's trying to make real connections and build real relationships. And that's the power of social at the end of the day. Let's switch gears a little bit. So I still want to talk about social, but I want to talk more about how you structure a good post, right? Because that is something in copywriting I think is important. We look at the ability to read a piece of content and how readable that is. And so let's talk about just structure, things like, like word counts and size, size of paragraphs and things like that, and how that all plays in.
Sure. But keep in mind, people are scrolling by at record speed, and so it's if it doesn't catch their eye right away, it's going to go right by. So this is where the first line really has to come in. And there's no hard set formula to that, but I tend to design mine to elicit shock and or curiosity. And then a lot of times I'll do the headline last. I know other copywriters will say you write a headline and then you write a piece around it. I'll have a concept, I'll write the piece, and then the headline is just there. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I mean, if you're spending too much time trying to figure out how to start your piece, just get into the story and you can rearrange pieces later. I'm kind of an exception because I tend to push the 1,300 character limit on LinkedIn. But I hear a lot of people say that I don't usually read posts this long, but so I mean, having a good compelling headline that makes you want to read more and not really getting into I tend to do a little bit of a lead in. I like to tease ideas, where for later in the post that I'll just wrap it around and bring it back at the end, because I like to build onto some patient. So, that sort of thing it's a skill that can be learned. But if you read any of my posts, you can probably figure out what I'm doing. It's not that hard to pick apart when you look at it from an objective standpoint.
Yep.
Nothing I do is magic.
Yeah. No, that's the big mystery. My dad said this long ago to me. He said, you don't pay people because they know something that you don't know. You pay them because they have the ability to do it regularly and consistently.
Right.
Everybody could figure out how to fix a computer. Everybody could figure out how to write effective copy. Everybody could figure out how to go be a business consultant. But do we have the time and the effort to go in and really master that on our own? And so I think that brings us to the next point. Just really thinking about how you spend your time, right? And so copywriting, how long does it take you? So like, I know from our perspective, right, we like to see like our service pages on our clients' web pages somewhere around the 1,000 to 1,200 word count, right? And that's usually a good length that people will read down to the bottom and gather all the information from what we found. Depending, some industries we can go a little bit longer, some industries we go a little bit shorter, but sure. That's kind of what we found, at least our sweet spot to be. Mm-hmm. What is your thought on finding a person to write that? And obviously that's your business, so you're biased in that, as opposed mm-hmm. to if you're not comfortable writing that yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are two main things that you need to be looking at. Obviously, there's the skill level, but just as importantly, or perhaps more importantly, you need to have a conversation face-to-face over Zoom or Skype or whatever with your potential copywriter, because you need to see in their face whether they're passionate about your project or not. I can say this from a copywriter's end because I've taken on projects I was not passionate about. I didn't do my best work. They sucked. I hated it. It was grueling. I couldn't wait to get rid of the client. Just to wrap it up. It's just we copywriters take projects for money because we have to sometimes. That's just kind of how things work. But dude, it's not hard to tell if somebody's not into your project. But if they're not into it, it doesn't matter how much skill they have. It's your copy's not going to do what you need it to do. So from that standpoint, I generally advise people to go look for a specialist. If you're needing tech copy, go find somebody who's passionate about doing tech copy. God, I'd rather scoop my eyeballs out with a rusty spoon than write tech copy. But I know people who love it. So great. There you go. Yep. I have people I refer those projects to. Real estate copy, investing copy. There's are just so many different types out there, and you can specialize without ever being afraid of running out of customers. I mean, in fact, the more you specialize, the more you're going to have a line out the door. That's kind of how it's been for me anyway. It's just once I became that copywriter for this niche, for this segment, for this group of people, everything changed. Sorry.
No, I was going to say I would agree with that. I think it helps streamline your process too, because at a certain point you spend a lot less time researching and a lot more time writing. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the time it takes to write an article, because I know when I first started learning copywriting and SEO from what we do for lifting web pages, I could spend 5, 6 hours, 7 hours on writing a single page, right? And if you got to do that, 10, 12, 14 times over the course of a month, it's a considerable time investment and time suck, right? How long does it typically take you to write an article anymore?
It's a lot more research time than it is writing time. So I'm pretty much straight 80-20 when it comes to that. No matter what I'm doing, I'm going to spend 80% of my time researching and 20% of the time writing. Mm-hmm. Obviously how familiar I am with it plays into that, how long it is, how in depth it is. And the same goes for, any sort of copy. I've written I wrote a sales page for Russell Brunson that was over 15,000 words long. And that was a haul. But I wrote a 300-word sales page that took just as long.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I know like now, because we work with a lot of roofers and restoration companies, and like now from when I first started to in that niche to now, I spend a lot less time researching, which cuts down my writing time. I also know the words and what keywords. Like I don't have to spend as much time looking at the supplemental keywords that I'm putting into the content for that space. So anymore now, for most of my roofing articles, I can plunk 1,000-word article out in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But it wasn't always like that. And that's what I want people to understand. Like it used to take me 5, 6, 7 hours to write a 1,000-word article. Right. And even at that, I look back at some of the early stuff and I go, gosh, that was terrible.
Well, understood. And, I have to remember that when I'm writing articles and other content, because if I'm writing a sales page for a $25,000 mastermind and I've got 1,200 words or less to do it in, I'm going to take 20, 30 hours to do that.
Yeah.
Because it takes that long to figure out, which words go where to make this all work. And for me, it's shifting my mindset when I go to writing copy, or we're going from that kind of copy to writing an article or a post or something like it. I'm like, okay, you don't need to be that meticulous.
Yeah.
And most copywriters don't need to be that meticulous anyway. I mean, this is, again, a high-end offer page for a high-end product where somebody's going to invest, the price of a, mid-sized car or whatever.
Yeah. No, I get it. I definitely appreciate your time. We're getting towards the end of our time here.
Okay.
I always like to ask my guests, what is that one piece of advice you have for our listeners that is going to help them either get better copywriting done or be a better copywriter themselves?
Dial in your core story. And again, that's the intersection between why you are doing this and why they need your help. Okay. That core story, it makes things so much simpler because one, it's yours. It's unique. Nobody else can duplicate that, even if 1,000 other people are selling a similar product or service. Two, that's just you. That is part of you, and every piece of your content that you put out there is somehow going to revolve around that and spin off of that. It helps you create content easier because everything sticks to that core message. The added benefit is you're not confusing your buyers. When everything sticks to a core message, you get consistent communication with your buyers. They trust you. They want to do business with you.
Yeah. Awesome words of advice. Thank you so much for coming on. You have the Copywriters University. Tell us a little bit about that and what people can gain from that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we've reopened Copybrand University. It's copybrandu.com. And we call it copybranding because it's really, again, an integration of all things marketing, not just the copy, the design, the flow, the cadence, everything to help your clients establish a brand that people trust and want to do business with. So I'm doing a 1-week trial for $1. And if you like it, it's $27 a month. And so we've got a fundamentals, eight module fundamentals program that's recorded and text-based. We are doing bi-weekly Q&As. We're doing monthly workshops. We've got our team of coaches in there to answer questions. So it's just an ongoing resource that you can go on anytime you need help with copy and learn and develop your skills. So that's copybrandu.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Aside from Copybrand U, where else can people find the infamous Lee Rowley?
Well, LeeRowley.com is a good place to start. Find some other things like there. Obviously, LinkedIn, the Lee Rowley. I'm not really big on those ghetto platforms, so I pretty much keep it to LinkedIn. Where else have we got? I don't know. You'll probably find me somewhere on the Las Vegas Strip before too long.
Well, we got to get the all the travel bans and all that stuff lifted so we can all travel safely again. So
that's right. I can't wait.
So awesome. Well, I appreciate your time so much. Don't forget to check out Lee on Bowtie. I do this backwards all the time. Lee on Bowtie Up live every afternoon, Monday through Friday from 4:20 to 5:20. It is an absolute fantastic show. High energy. Lee and Alex bring it every single time. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody, David, and all of you that joined us today. We really appreciate it. Charlie as well. We will see you again on Thursday. Just a heads up, Thursday, we will be running at 12 instead of 1. So look for us here on LinkedIn at 12 o'clock or Facebook for those of you that are in those other spaces. Great having you all, and have a wonderful afternoon.